Hello, welcome to another episode of Science Talks, a conversation hosted by the University of Arizona's Bio5 Institute. My name is Amy Randall Barber. A chronic wound does not heal in an orderly set of stages or predictable amount of time. Chronic wounds often remain in the inflammatory stage for too long and may never heal or take years to heal. Biomedical research uses regenerative medicine, tissue repair, nanotechnology, and various biomaterials to target chronic injuries like this, frequently directing our focus toward targeting an anti-inflammatory response within our molecules proves to be the optimal strategy, enabling regenerative techniques to effectively combat oxidative and inflammatory stressors that would otherwise exacerbate the healing process. Today we are joined by Dr. Carlos Zgheib, an associate professor in the Division of Pediatric Surgery at the University of Arizona's Department of Surgery. Dr. Zgheib also leads the Laboratory for Fetal and Regenerative Biology with Dr. Ken Liechty. Dr. Zgheib, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate having you.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
We always like to start off every podcast the same way with a fun icebreaker kind of, rapid fire style question, or a couple of questions. If you're okay with that, I'm going to shoot the questions at you. Okay. What is your favorite city in the U.S. besides the one that you live in, and why?
My favorite city is Denver.
Oh, okay.
Denver, Colorado. I lived there for 9 years, a little bit less, 9 years.
Okay.
I like Denver because it's a foodie town, multicultural. Also, you're close to the mountains and the scenery. It's beautiful. Skiing. Like we used to go on hikes, 14ers and 13ers. We used to go camping. We used to go like weekend skiing, or even during the day you can go, the same day you can go to a park and walk around and have a small picnic. I would say Denver.
Nice. Lots of outdoor living, kind of, yeah. I've been to Denver and I love it too. What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Well, I love food and I love especially sweets and desserts. There is one dessert, it's a Lebanese or Middle Eastern, it's called kenafe. Kenafeh. It's basically this, it's a lot of cheese and like simple syrup and like a dough, and some eat it with a fork, some eat it with a bun, a sesame bun, and it's served as a breakfast, but you can eat it anytime during the day. It's very rich, and I could eat that every day, all day.
Have you found any place that serves that or has that on their menu here?
In Tucson, I haven't yet,
No.
but they told me that there is a restaurant. I haven't been there. I have been there, but I haven't ordered the kenafe yet, but they told me they have good kenafe.
Oh, something to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. What is your dream car?
Dream car. Wow. It's always been a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
A yellow one.
Oh, yellow one.
Yeah.
Okay.
A Lamborghini Aventador.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast. It has a lot of technology in it. Sporty car. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
It's a dream car. It's a very expensive car. I don't know. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for answering those questions. We love to learn a little bit about our guests outside of science, so we like to ask those questions. We also like to know kind of how you were first attracted to science. We ask that question of everyone. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and sort of what first attracted you to science and or research?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was probably a lot in the family. My mom was studying to become a doctor, then she could not continue that, but then my brother ended up going to med school and becoming a cardiologist, and that influence in the family. I was interested in the medical field and the science behind it. Then after graduate and at school, I was like always into biology and chemistry and these kind of courses. So after graduating, I went and did a degree in biochemistry, a bachelor's in biochemistry. Then continued with another master's in pharmacology and cosmetology. And during that time, I guess my grades were really good at school, and that was in Lebanon, not in the U.S. I got a scholarship to come to the U.S. and to do like 3 months research internship at the Cardiovascular Research Institute at Texas A&M in Temple, Texas. So I did that. I really enjoyed it, finished my internship, and went back home to finish my master's. Then the institute contacted me to do another internship, another scholarship, and they really encouraged me to apply for schools here. And that's how it all kind of started. So went back here. And it's funny because during my second internship, I got accepted into 2 French universities, Lyon, University of Lyon, and University of Nancy, to do a PhD there.
Okay.
But I decided I'm gonna skip and apply for programs in the U.S. And I got accepted in one of them, and did another master's and a PhD, and that's how my science career started.
Wow. So, well, I am kind of curious about the cosmetology.
Yeah.
And how that plays a role in
all
of this. Yeah.
You know, back then when I chose that major, I chose it for pharmacology, but it had cosmetology in it, and it had few courses on like how do you make, for example, a sunscreen, what goes into the sunscreen, what's the science behind it, what's the formulation of these drugs that go on the skin, like all these testing you do to make sure there are no allergies, they don't irritate the skin, which one is better for certain skins. And that's, back then, I was, it's interesting that these courses in that major were different from all the pharmacology and all the drugs. And of course, me and my friends back then, like, why do we have these courses? Cosmetology, what are we gonna do with it? Funny enough, years later, actually a couple years ago when I was in Denver, me and my business partner, we developed a cosmetic line.
Oh.
And based on my knowledge from cosmetology before, we developed this brand called Lever. And we have like a scaffold cream for the face, we have eye cream, we developed also a sunscreen. And it all connected, like 10 years or 15 years later.
Wow.
The masters to develop that cosmetic line. And
wow, that's really
right?
cool.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, that works. Nice. So what was it that brought you to the U of A and to Bio 5?
So I was in Colorado at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus for 9 years. And me and my longtime mentor and business partner, we were approached by the chair of surgery here, chair of the Department of Surgery, Dr. Gertner, about the possibility of joining the department here and help with pediatric surgery and help with research, bring our research programs here. So we met a lot of people, talked to a lot of people here, and we felt that this would be a good fit for what we want to do and our goals as far as biomedical research as well as clinical. So that's how we ended up in Tucson at the University of Arizona doing all what we're doing right now.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you.
Happy to be here.
So how did you get interested in the field of study that you're in now? You have a lot of different research experiences, so how does it all tie together?
So from the beginning, I was very, into pharmacology, but I was very interested in inflammation. And during my graduate studies as a PhD, I was interested in when somebody has a heart attack and basically part of that muscle, the heart muscle, stops working. And the reason is because it dies. And it becomes fibrotic, and a lot of that has to do with inflammation. If you have a lot of inflammation and tissue injury, it can cause fibrosis in that tissue. That's how it all started. I developed this concept that if you can somehow control the arteries in the heart, the microcirculation, they can help regenerate the heart muscle. That's how it started with inflammation and studying it in the cardiovascular disease. And I finished my thesis, and one of the thesis advisors, who is my longtime mentor, offered me a position to join his team as a postdoc. And his lab was focused on fetal cardiac regeneration. I was focused on adult cardiac regeneration, and he thought that there's several projects in the lab. I could bring my experience and help push these projects forward and finish them. And that's what I did. I did that, and at the same time, they had a lot of focus on wound healing and skin wound healing and diabetic wounds. And also, diabetic wounds have inflammation. These wounds, the main reason why these wounds do not heal properly and patients suffer with these wounds is because they get stuck in this inflammatory cycle. It becomes chronic. You always inflammation. The wound doesn't get a break to try to heal itself, and that's where it all started, with the inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see how that ties in and it plays a part in.
Yeah. Over the years, we expanded that. So when early on we were studying, and we want to promote healing, right? Promote wound healing or tissue healing. And inflammation is a common thing between different tissue injuries, if it's in the heart or in the skin or in the lung or in the digestive system. And we were targeting the inflammation in different ways, using stem cell therapy, using lentiviral delivery of certain therapeutics. And we ended up developing this new technology that targets inflammation directly and oxidative stress as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Can you tell us about your current projects going on right now? I feel like you did a little bit and kind of gave us a sneak peek into
That's
some
a lot
of it.
more.
Yeah. How will regenerative medicine help with inflammatory diseases? What is nanotechnology, and how does it help with your studies?
So we base our research and drug development on what we learned from the fetus. The fetus has this tremendous ability to regenerate tissues. We found from our research that if you mimic a heart attack in the fetal heart, it can regenerate completely like it's never been there. Whereas in the adult, once they have a heart attack, there's no going back. The heart is damaged, and depending on the size of this infarct, some patients die or go into heart failure, then die. And we also notice similar thing when it comes to the skin. When you wound the fetal skin, the fetus regenerate completely. There's no scar formation. Understanding these mechanisms, we were studying how this response, the differences in the response between the fetus and the adult, knowing these differences allowed us to understand that there are certain things in the adult that can be changed in adult tissues to promote regeneration. And that's the basis of our technology, the nanotechnology that you mentioned. It's a combination of a nanoparticle and a microRNA. The nanoparticle itself can deliver the microRNA to tissues, but also as antioxidants. And the microRNA itself is anti-inflammatory. It basically blocks inflammation. And by combining these two together and delivering them, we can target both inflammation and high oxidation in tissues and give the tissue a chance to start healing itself. We've tested this concept. When I was a postdoc, I tested that concept originally in diabetic wounds and showed a lot of promising results and continued with that. We tested it in different models. We did a pre-IND meeting with the FDA. We got more funding for it, and we're about to go into IND studies next year for this. And then COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
COVID hit, and you hear about people suffering from lung injury because of COVID or ARDS because of COVID, in addition to other clinical. And some of the patients who get COVID, they have to go on ventilators, and they also get ventilator-induced lung injury. They get lung injury from the ventilators. So we did this fast program through the FDA, where if there is a therapeutic, the FDA will give you basically a roadmap to how to bring it to clinical trial. And that was, we did our drug, we changed the formulation for lung delivery. And we've tested it in different models of lung injury, and we showed that we can not only block inflammation and reverse the injury, but also we can restore the lung function back to normal. And this was huge because there's no drug on the market right now that can treat lung injury. So, and we've tested it in lung injuries that can be caused by bacteria, by a traumatic injury, like the ventilator. We created a model for ventilator-induced lung injury. We have a ventilator for small animals. We also can reverse that, and that's how we. And actually now that's the drug that's leading our drug pipeline and going into the FDA. We also just got a DOD contract to develop this drug for other uses for lung injury and develop basically like a dry powder inhaler for it.
Oh, wow.
Continuing with that, we also developed formulations of it for patients that suffer from colitis and Crohn's disease.
Oh, wow.
And we have collaborations here on campus with a group in pediatrics, Dr. Faiz Kishan. We've been testing our drug, both formulations, and it's showing really interesting results. And we're continuing to develop that. So these are the three main, if you want, projects, but R&D all continues. We developed two new areas here at the UFA. We are developing treatments for sepsis and also treatments for uterine winning, like we know, like when there is a C-section delivery, the uterus can develop a scar, and that can cause complications later on for second pregnancy or other things. So we have a model. We're trying to understand what happens, why it's different from, for example, other tissues, why it scars, and at the same time we're developing treatments to reduce scarring and promote healing of the uterine house.
Wow. You are a busy person.
A lot of things going on.
I mean, all astonishing. And if they can make it through clinical trial, all the way to the end, how wonderful. They're gonna help people. Like,
we
great.
hope we can make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. So your lab's focus is heavily surrounded by pioneer groundbreaking advancements that will shape the future of medicine and positively impact the lives of countless individuals around the globe, which is what we just said. Can you tell us more about how that became an overarching goal for your lab?
Well, it all started when I was a student. I have a passion for biomedical research and scientific discovery and all that. And as I developed my passion for this career, from the beginning I was focused on inflammation and inflammatory disease. I started with one and expanded to other areas, other disease areas. It started with basically, if you want, one disease, targeting one disease with one drug, developing this technology, patenting it. We have several patents for the technologies that we have, as well as for the application for it, and that gave us the opportunity to build on it. And as we're growing on the academic side, we also had to learn the business side of things. We started a company to bring these technologies to market, to clinical trials, and to patients. And that's where you start thinking that one drug, one application is good, but more is better.
Yeah.
It's good if you have more drugs or you have more applications. And that's how we continued with R&D and developing it into a bigger programs. And all this was done by trainees. I was a trainee one long time ago. I was a student. I was an undergrad student. I was a master's student, a PhD student, and postdoc. I was trainee for a long time. And a lot of this work was, as opportunities for students and residents and medical students to train. And over the years, that's what we've done. Every year we have 3-4 surgery residents who do 2 years of research with us, rotation, and get experience in research and publish and all that. We have also postdocs. We have students like last summer we had 3 students from the MSRP program here, and we had 2 or 3 students from the CME program at the UA, in addition to several undergrads. Right now we have like 10-15 students waiting in line to do internships with us, and so we like to not only invest in potential therapies that can potentially one day help patients and improve their lives, but also invest in future scientists that can continue this innovation and bring their ideas that can make a difference one day.
Fostering the next generation. Absolutely. That's wonderful. Your work deals with unhealing wounds. What does that mean, and how does your work respond to this?
Unhealing wounds, sometimes if we cut our hand, a little cut or a little paper cut, it heals itself. Within days or maybe a week, you're healed. But some patients, they don't have that, if you want, privilege of healing, especially those who suffer from other disease like diabetes. Diabetic patients, usually when they develop wounds, especially in their lower extremities, these wounds are hard to heal, take a long time to heal and become infected. And at some point they can cause death or amputations. So these are called, for example, unhealing wounds. And
I see.
There's a lot of research that has been done on diabetic wounds and why they don't heal. High inflammation, high oxidative stress, high risk of infection, low protein or low collagen, for example, and the diabetic wounds. And understanding these mechanisms and these different dysregulations allowed us to develop targeted therapies to try to push the wound and break that cycle and make it heal itself. And that's what we've been doing.
Thank you for explaining that. You have multiple patents as well as being a chief scientific officer of biotech companies. Can you tell us how these experiences have impacted your work and or your life? One of your biotech companies, Syria Therapeutics. You spearhead studies that target inflammation to promote tissue repair and regeneration. Can you tell us what that means? Explain a little bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. So I have an appointment with the University of Arizona. I'm a faculty at the Department of Surgery, College of Medicine. And I also have joint appointments with biomedical engineering and pharmacology as well here. And my other part-time is working as a chief scientific officer of Syria Therapeutics. We started a company a few years back in Colorado to bring some of these technologies that we develop on the academic side, bring them to basically to patients, to clinical trials. Here at the UFA, we have the academic lab, and we also have the company. We moved the company to UFA at the BSRO. And how originally when I was doing research, it was all academic and basic / translational research. But then I realized that these discoveries, if I want to continue making discovery, my end goal is to make a difference in patient lives. And to do that, I have to bring these drugs to the other side, to the clinical trial side. And that was a whole different world for me. So back then, my mentor and I, after the initial studies, we decided to found the company, Syria Therapeutics. And we didn't understand the business at all. So what we did is we tried to learn as we go, as they say. We were learning. And we got a lot of help to start the company, develop the company. We hired consultants. We hired people who understand more of the business side of things to build the company. Right now, the company, we have a CEO, we have a CFO, I'm the CSO, we have the president, we have a lab director, we have employees, even we have opportunities for students who want to train on that side of things as well from the university. That's how it all came together.
Okay. Wow. With every question you answer, it's just more, I see how much you're making a difference. And
thank you.
That is just really wonderful. So you kind of alluded to this earlier, and most people do have a mentor, but do you have a mentor that's impacted your life, either personally or work-related?
Yeah. I had a lot of mentors during my career. Since I was an undergrad student, but there's one mentor who was actually my PhD thesis advisor. He was one of the advisors he wasn't my main mentor but he was one of the advisors on my thesis committee. That after finishing after graduating with my PhD, he offered me a postdoc position in his lab. So I joined his lab as a postdoc, and since then we developed this relationship between me and him that today, like I went from a student / postdoc to I'm a faculty now, associate professor, and also business partner with him.
Okay.
And we developed these research programs and technologies by both of us interacting and talking over years. He's been my mentor since 2009.
Oh, wow.
And that relationship still continues to today. It's Ken Liechty, Dr. Ken Liechty. He's a pediatric surgeon and fetal surgeon here at Banner at Diamonds. He's also the division chief of pediatric surgery, and he's the vice chair for research at surgery. So yeah, he's the biggest mentor not only on the science side or the business side, but also mentor in life as well.
Yeah. Wow. And it sounds like
we have a close relationship. Both our families are very close. His kids, my kid, my wife, his wife, we're very close.
That's very nice. And now you both live in the same town, and
yeah, we live 5 minutes from each other, actually.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Makes it nice to go for a walk together, or the families to get together.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? It sounds like I can already imagine you have a lot of irons in the fire for sure. Is there anything that you plan to do that you haven't talked about?
I would like to continue innovating and continue pushing these technologies forward. And I would like to continue also mentoring and training students, as well as residents and different people. Originally it was wound healing, but today we are in different therapeutic areas. We even have a medical device for pressure injury as well.
Oh, wow.
This is ready for commercialization. We've tested it, but we're waiting on some funding for that. So there's a lot going on when it comes to work and innovation, but mainly the passion for scientific discovery and innovation. I want to continue doing that.
Wonderful. Well, and it sounds like that's going to be your answer to my next question, which is, what is your why? It sounds like that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, it's
the passion.
Passion.
Mm-hmm.
Passion for scientific discovery, and more importantly, the goal of making a difference in patient lives. Because these different diseases that we're targeting, at the end, for example, for lung injury, 2 of my family members passed away during COVID because of lung injury.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's another goal continuing. And one of the disease applications that we're targeting, it's a personal thing for me because I suffer from that particular disease. So there's a passion, and there's also a personal goal of making this work one day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for all the work you do. It's really going to make a difference, absolutely. I believe that. I know that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate talking with you and getting to know you a little bit more.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to another episode of Science Talks. Continue the conversation with us next time as we learn more about the amazing science happening at the University of Arizona's Bio 5 Institute.